Hello, people have been waiting for contest results. I'm sorry it took so long, and I decided today to just suck it up and get it done with. So, I'm going to kind of run through the people who did it and kind of what they did, and end, of course, with the winner, because what's the point of making a video if I don't at least try to make you watch the whole damn thing, right? Though I guess smart people just go to the ending if they're just trying to get through it, right? Anyways, yeah, so I'm going to get right to it. Alright, first off, Ghost Critic cheated by listing a whole slew of comics, so he's out, and I'm not letting him win. I want him to know that. Bad Ghost Critic. And then the second one was Death Adder 83 hit me with a, was it June 8th, 1980, I forget the year, a Garfield strip from that time, and he said it was something about lasagna. Interestingly, there's only I think it's 60-some comics where Garfield references lasagna, which, considering it's been running for about 2 lifetimes, is interesting that it's kind of his trademark thing. I think it came more from the comics. Or not the comics, the TV show, which is interesting. But actually, the comic that he referenced was about him looking under John's bed and then seeing a, elk skull, and then being like, hey John, when's the last time you swept under your bed? Ha ha ha. So anyways, Death Adder 83, you're more or less out, because you didn't even know what comic you were doing, you didn't even look it up when it's free and easy to do. Fun game, everyone. Look up the Garfield comic from your birthday and see how bad it is, and try to relate it to your life. Alright, the next group of people are with comics I couldn't really find. That was kind of one of the things I put in there, was it has to be a comic that I can somewhat easily get a hold of. Rowdy95 wanted me to find Commandy 1. In order for me to do that, it's I don't know, it's not cheap for one issue, and there wasn't super easy to find. I'm sure if I put myself to it, I could. A little more than I wanted to spend on a comic to read for a contest. And I've heard from all of you Commandy's great, but yeah. And then the Captain Cummings wanted me to read Avengers 10 Volume 1. Where the fuck would I find an Avengers 10 for anything under more than I'd spend on a video game? Next up is 2 people who went the same route, and they talked about death. The first one was Read 'em Steven with Superman 75. Please go check out Graphic Issues 616 with me and my Moochie Minute to talk about death, and specifically a good chunk about the Superman death and the Return of Superman death coming soon. There's a great video, The Death and Return of Superman, talking about that. I highly recommend you go look that up. That is a highly amusing video, if nothing else. I mean, if you're bothering to watch this shit, go check that out. It's astounding. That's great. The second was Ironclad Heroes with Ultimate Spider-Man 160, and that's another death issue, and it is a fairly powerful one. But it's a death issue, and it was less of what I was looking for, but it's a really great comic, and I know it's one of your favorites, and with good reason, though frankly, I am a little shocked you didn't hit me with a random Spider-Girl comic. That would have probably... that might have hit me a little stronger, but that's great. And speaking of which, if just offhand, if you want to, there was, if you have a particular issue, that would be great to check it out, but I do plan on reading that sometime. The next 2, I wanted to talk about were really interesting. Detective Comics 651 with the Bullock running from DaCosta DC. That was an interesting issue, and I did enjoy it, and it was damn good. And it just didn't happen to think of it as splendorous as others, but damn good entries, sir. Now, James Donnelly hit me with the final issue of The Ultimates 2, which is this drag-out battle, and it's huge, and it's a big, great thing, and it's part of a great comic. The truth is, though, if you read it on its own, making heads or tails of it, I don't know, it just, that's, those especially those early Ultimates, I mean, really are like trades, and you have to read them together, which is fine, they're great, and I love them to death, much as you do. I just, the issue itself doesn't quite stand up on its own compared to some of these other ones. It didn't really hit me with the spectacle sort of angle that I was looking with, so that's where I deviated on that one. Also, you know, you pitched me out of your contest, so fair's... No, I'm just joking. Alright, and then it came down to 2, and I struggled choosing between these 2. Honestly, that's part of the reason this video took a week longer. I would have done this sooner, but I was like, I don't know which of these 2, so I just made a decision. Warzone Spider, your entry of Sandman 18 was solid. That is a great issue that stands up on its own. That is a comic that I cannot imagine reading in any other medium, which is kind of what I was going for with the whole spectacle thing and like showing that off, and that is a great, great issue. Part of the reason that I didn't end up going with it was that it's kind of... I've heard it a lot around the comic book community before, which, I mean, it's a great issue. There's good reasons for that, right? But it just didn't... And it's something I've read before and I know, and it was I was expecting someone to kind of have a Sandman, so it was almost just a little too on the nose, whereas the next entry kind of just blew me away. And that was A Comic Book Mom with Action Comics 893. Now, no way was I expecting that to win. I was expecting someone to hit me with some oddball, like, you know, indie title or something that really played with the form in some weird ways, or found some, like, early J.H. Williams thing. Like, that's the sort of thing that I was kind of like, someone will hit me with that I wouldn't have known of, and oh my god. But, no, Action 893 is so... the other end of the spectacle of comics that's awesome, and I wanted to give props for doing that up. It's kind of Gorilla Grodd versus Lex Luthor, and Gorilla Grodd comes out with a giant battle spoon to take out Lex Luthor, but it's really a Lex Luthor robot, and it's all like, oh my god, and the twists and the turns and the bends, and it comes to something decent, and then it leads into the issue where Lex Luthor talks to Death from the Sandman, which kind of leads into but I hadn't read this issue before, and oh my god, it just blew me away, and it was just fun the whole way through. It's also really interesting. It's actually fairly short, because it actually there's a second part that was part of the Jimmy Olsen tie-in, which is so much better enjoyed as a giant one-shot. But man, that issue is just so much like the fun of comics and the joy of it, and just reminded me, you know, like, you know, you can try to look at indie stuff, you can try to do all that, but there is such a visceral joy to your DCs and your Marvels and all that, and just the bizarre stuff that can happen. And what was so great, what really hit me was, like, between the transitions and, like, Grodd with the battle spoon, and then, like, these Lex robots, and then something with the Lewis and the perfume. They brought out a sense of smell within a comic, and it just, like, drew you into it. Like, that's awesome. Way to go, Cornell. But it was fun to read, but it was just like, I was reading and I was thinking, you know, if I saw this as like a TV episode or portrayed as like a radio serial or something, it would just be corny as hell. But in the comic presentation, it's fun and it's dramatic at times, and I'm actually more drawn in because of the pacing, and I'm actually reading it faster than you could ever go through in any other medium. Whereas, I mean, with comics, you really should potentially take more time, right? But I was just whipping through it, and that made it so much more engaging to me because it didn't allow my mind to actually really catch up to what was going on. That allowed me to be in it, because otherwise I would just play it off as too bizarre, and that's so much of why I love comics. So there you go. So, A Comic Book Mom, again, you are the winner, and thank you for reminding me why I kind of love this stuff and the goofiness and all that, and that's great. And everyone, great entries, even you, Ghost Critic, but cheating won't let you win. So, yeah. So that's done. Oh my god. And I promise if I ever do anything like this again, the turnaround will be quicker, hopefully, sans, blowing up. So, kudos and thanks all for trying, and I will hit you soon with another comic review. And go check out Graphic Issue 616, oh my god.